The Greens have become a powerful third force in Australian politics and are always aiming higher, hoping to snare more seats than ever this election. But the Greens' plans are in chaos after a vicious round of infighting in the party's long-troubled New South Wales branch. Even as the Greens make industrial relations a key election issue, 7:30 can reveal the party has its own bitter workplace rows. The Greens' most senior official in New South Wales, brought in to professionalise the party, has ended up taking it to Fair Work Australia. And now the state party's treasurer has resigned, launching an almighty spray on the way out, accusing the party of bullying its staff. Connor Duffy reports.
We are going to come at this election with a tremendous force.
Richard Di Natale is a Greens leader like no other, the first not to be arrested protesting, and he's dreaming big for his party. He's taking it beyond trees and protests to mainstream Australia.
We're hearing from people right across the country that they are so frustrated with the two old parties who remain stuck in the past.
Peace, not war! Peace, not war!
But behind the scenes, his party is plagued by animosity and division.
Stop the bombing of Syria, to stop the whole attack being waged by Western countries.
The friction is centred in New South Wales, where the party is controlled by a group of former socialists led by Greens Senator Lee Rhiannon. They're known as the Watermelons.
To be there for the rest of their lives.
What's a watermelon?
It's green on the outside, red on the inside. It's environmentalist where you see it, and I guess old-style radical socialist where you don't. But in New South Wales in particular, you have two currents really that have come together historically, and it really goes all the way back in the day. The old student days of tie-dyed and flares. You have people who've come out of a radical socialist tradition, somewhat authoritarian in its political style, and other people who've come out of an environmentalist tradition which is rather anarchist and free-flowing.
For years, the state party has infuriated its national colleagues who accuse it of going rogue, most famously on its boycott of Israel.
So they are occupying Palestinian land, effectively frontline troops.
The party even fought against moves to establish Bob Brown as national leader on the grounds it was too hierarchical.
Well, I think the hierarchy question is a bit of a paradox, actually. A lot of people in the Greens, when they say they don't want a hierarchy, just mean I don't want somebody else being at the top of the ladder. There's an old joke on the old inner city left that says there's nothing more tyrannical than structurelessness. When there's no structures, 2 or 3 people get to run everything.
Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for coming along here tonight to celebrate another...
Despite factional infighting in the last 5 years, the New South Wales Greens have won 2 seats in the lower house, bringing more power and influence. And more money. In fact, millions of dollars in public funding have flowed to the party, causing it to change.
It's happened before. The first major Green Party in the Western world was in the old West Germany, what's now Germany. They created the name Greens. Right from the start, they had 2 camps. They called them in Germany the Fundis and the Realos, the fundamentalists and the realists.
In 2013, the party decided to take a more business-like approach. It advertised for an executive officer whose brief was to transform the party into a modern professional outfit. Long-term Greens member Carol Medcalf got the job. But her appointment created tensions. She tried to change the culture, creating professional management structures and training to modernise the party. But insiders say the Watermelon-controlled Committee of Management refused to relinquish control, and staff say the work environment turned miserable. Tensions got so bad that, according to an internal Greens Party memo, it threatened to rip the party apart.
The dispute and any public airing could jeopardise the Greens New South Wales prospects at the upcoming public elections, and in particular during the federal election campaign.
By November, Ms Medcalf had taken her dispute to Fair Work Australia. 3 weeks ago, when Malcolm Turnbull called the election, the New South Wales Greens were holding a state delegates' council meeting. The main topic of conversation was not the July poll, but how to keep the dispute with Ms Medcalf out of the press. A branch known as the Inner City Greens proposed an amicable resolution, but a decision was made to pay her out. It's believed the amount of money involved was between $90,000 and $100,000.
Hi, Carol.
Yes.
I'm just wondering whether you've got a minute to have a chat with us about your settlement with the Greens.
Ms Metcalfe declined to speak to 7:30. As Richard Di Natale continues to tour the country, hoping to pick up seats in New South Wales, behind the public smiles, the departure of Carol Metcalfe continues to divide the party. 7:30 has spoken to many current and former Green members, some very senior, who are horrified at the infighting and lack of professionalism of their New South Wales colleagues. None would appear on camera, nor would Lee Rhiannon or the New South Wales Greens convener, and observers say there's a culture of avoiding tough scrutiny.
It seems to be a culture that's ingrained. We get to find out who their leaders are after the event and sometimes find out who they really are after the event as well. There seems to be a strange part of the culture of the Greens where they view themselves as under attack. They view large parts of the media as their enemies.
The Lord Mayor of Sydney needs to adopt a different approach.
This week, the dispute culminated with the resignation of the New South Wales Party's treasurer. In his letter of resignation obtained by 7:30, Chris Harris slams Carol Metcalfe's treatment by party officials. His letter says her treatment by party officials was
reminiscent of tactics used by major banks to shaft their customers. The campaign to undermine, discredit and bully the executive officer flies in the face of our four principles and makes a mockery of what we are saying to the electorate about our commitment to workers' rights.
Mr Harris declined to discuss his email. Richard Di Natale's office was contacted about the story yesterday, but today denied any knowledge of the dispute.
In New South Wales, the Greens' most senior official, basically the campaign director, is taking the party to Fair Work. Are you concerned about her treatment?
It's not an issue I'm familiar with. I think that would be an issue you'd need to direct to the New South Wales Greens.
Would you be taking it up with the New South Wales Greens as the leader of the Australian Greens?
Well, I'm not familiar with the allegations, but it appears that this is an issue within the New South Wales Greens state party, and it's an issue that needs to be taken up with the New South Wales Greens.
With 5 weeks of campaigning still to go, the Greens will be hoping its members stay on message, but questions the party would prefer not to answer may well resurface.
And we invited Senator Di Natale for an interview tonight. He was unavailable. Connor Duffy with that report.